Hi guys, how have you been? I haven't been sharing any video in the last few days. I've been a bit busy, but I'm back. One of the subscribers asked me to react to this video. The subscriber is called Bob Dog, so thank you for sharing that with me. So I'm going to react to this video today. It's the rescue of an aid worker who was working in northern Somalia, raising awareness about how to avoid landmines, and then got captured by Somalians. So you can imagine this. And she survived through this torture for 93 days. I don't know how she survived a kidnapping against the impossible odds, but I'll watch the video together with you and add my comments and comment about it. But if you have enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Also, you'll notice now I've got a link where you can donate money. It's just to grow the channel. Please feel free to do so, but you don't have to, and I will really appreciate if you do so. I've also got a link where I've got some merch. If there is anything you want to see on the merch, please put your suggestion in the comment box and I'll take it on board. And please feel free to navigate through the merch, and hope you like them. If there's anything you would like to see, just let me know. But yeah, we'll watch this video together.
Tonight, for the first time, we have the story of the rescue of Jessica Buchanan. It is the tale of a secret mission by SEAL Team 6 that few people have heard about until now. On a January night in 2012, members of SEAL Team 6 jumped from a plane into the skies of Somalia. Jessica Buchanan was being held hostage, and the SEALs were descending just in time. Buchanan was a humanitarian aid worker who had come to help children in one of the most dangerous places on earth. Hers was an ordeal that ended in a flash of violence, but had begun 93 days earlier when her car was stopped by bandits in a place she calls hell.
So when you as a volunteer or a paid person who will go there to do some work like this, you wouldn't think of this because you would think you're secured, you're fine, you're doing to do humanitarian work. These things probably doesn't really occur in your head because you're going to do a good deed, and here she got kidnapped by Somalians. And I don't know, like I said, how she's went through it and came out alive. But it's something which is quite scary when you think about it. You're going to do a good deed and this happened to you.
The story will continue in a moment.
We stopped very abruptly, like so abruptly that I felt like everybody just fall forward. And then I start hearing all of this pounding on the windows and the windshield and all this shouting in Somali. And there's a man standing there screaming, and he has an AK-47 and he's shouting and he's pointing it at us. And then he climbs into the car next to me and he points an AK in my face. And they're hyped up like they're on speed. And all of a sudden we just take off. The driver just takes.
So imagine having a gun pointed in your face. Personally, I don't know what I would have done. I would probably, I don't know. What do you do in that when this happened to you? Being a civilian as well, it's not like she's from a military background, like, she knows what to do or she's trained to react to things like that. She's there. She's got a gun pointing at her face. What do you do?
Takes off and we just start slamming all over the place down these camel tracks.
What did you think they were going to do?
I figured they were going to rape me and then kill me.
That is a horrible thought to have, rightly so. She's these things will occur in your minds when this happened to you, but it's a horrible thing to try and digest it and think this might happen to me, this can occur, because you just don't know what they want from you and what they're going to do. You just don't know how they work, their mindset work.
And I just keep thinking, this can't be the end. This can't be the end of my life. I'm only 32 years old. I haven't had any children yet. I didn't get to say goodbye to Eric. I didn't get to say goodbye to my dad. Like, this can't be the end.
Jessica Buchanan was facing the end At the end of the earth, Somalia, on the farthest tip of Africa, is war-torn and lawless.
This is essentially no man's land.
Militias battle over an unforgiving land, as we saw while covering a famine there in 2011. It was the same year that Buchanan was with a Danish charity teaching children how to avoid landmines. On October 25th, her car was hijacked.
The driver is driving like just a madman. We're bouncing all over the place. My head keeps hitting the window. It keeps hitting the roof. I'm holding on to the side, the handle on the Land Cruiser, just trying to keep myself steady.
What happened next?
It gets dark and we've changed vehicles a couple of times. More people have come, they're screaming. And I hear from...
I can't imagine what was going in her mind at the time, especially going with them and changing vehicle, doesn't know where she's going, what's going to happen, what they're going to do with her. Absolutely no idea. And at that time when this happened, you know, your mind play tricks as well, run through so many thoughts, so many things, run through so many scenarios. What if this happened? What if that happened? So I don't know how she kept her calm and, you know, and just carried on.
Behind me, a higher pitched voice going on in Somalian. I think, my God, they have a woman involved in this. And I turn around and I see a small child in the back of the Land Cruiser with an AK-47 draped in ammunition. And
a kid draped with ammunition and a gun, you know, a child. We're talking of a child here. How do you do this?
I think the irony of why I came to Africa in the first place.
Exactly the kid you were trying to save, a child soldier.
Yeah.
What was he doing?
Learning the trade.
She'd been kidnapped along.
That is terrible for a child to be in that position as well, and has got no other route. That's the only way. That's the only route. That's the only thing the child knows. And it's a good thing we've got people like herself who's going and help the kids and help and save them, you know, from taking that route on, because it's not right for such a small child to have an AK-47, like she said, or has got so many ammunition in a soldier, trying to like be involved in kidnapping. It's just not right. They shouldn't be doing that. But what else does the child know? They haven't got that other option available to them, so that's all they know.
With a co-worker, Paul Fisted, they drove into the night and then were ordered to march into the desert.
And they tell us to get down onto our knees. And I think, okay, this is it. Like, I'm bracing myself to be shot in the back of the head. And I think that there's mercy in the fact that maybe they're not going to rape me first, but that it's just going to be quick. And I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. And then all of a sudden somebody shouts from behind us.
It's not something you thought about, you know, like, this is how my life gonna be ending. Someone's gonna shot me in the back of my head, especially her, or anybody. You don't think of things like that. And here she was in that position, and this was going in her head, in her mind. It is a horrible thought. Horrible is an understatement for that. It's horrible.
Sleep. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I didn't hear that correctly, did I? He just said sleep.
She collapsed, slept through the night, and the next morning was met by the man who led the bandits.
And we ask him, are you going to kill us? Is that why we're here? He says, no.
She even had the courage to ask. You know, that take courage for you to be able to ask a question like this, or talk to them, or for them to even respond, and she did it. It's admirable, but in this type of situation, you just don't know what you're dealing with.
Money. We just want money.
How much were they asking for?
They started out at $45 million.
They thought you were pretty valuable.
I guess so.
Wow, $45 million is a lot of money to ask, but to put someone's life to put a value to someone's life like herself, it's not right. But like this, like she said, they thought she was a high profile person, and then that's what they thought they will get. But we'll see what happened.
The bandits used her cell phone to call her husband, Eric Landemam. The two had married on an African beach 2 years before. But his number and the numbers of Buchanan's family had all been disconnected. It was part of the charity's emergency plan. The one number that worked was her Nairobi office with a hostage negotiator standing by. And so began months of talks.
Where did they keep you? Day in, day out?
That's a good contingency plan that they have. They've blocked the family number, and if anybody rings from her phone, it actually ring to the office rather than the family, especially when in these type of situations. So that's a really good thing that they've done. Otherwise, imagine the kidnappers ringing her own family, how stressed they would, how would they have reacted, because they were not prepared for that as well. So it's a good thing that they've actually made the phone connected to the office.
Under trees, outside.
You were outdoors for 93 days?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And in the night, they forced us to sleep out in the open.
What were the nights like?
Long and cold. Then the rainy season hit, and it would rain all night long, and you're already freezing, so then you're sitting there wet.
What were you eating?
Tuna fish, maybe once a day. We would get a small can of tuna fish and a piece of bread.
Did you feel?
Yeah, it's torture, letting someone sleep outside. And again, she was not prepared for that. She has not probably been trained as well to go through this. I don't know. But for you to live there 93 days in the cold, in the wet, in the dry, and be fed very minimal food, nothing, like good food to survive through is admirable. And she's done it.
Feel like you were beginning to lose your humanity at any point?
Yeah, I mean,
you would lose your humanity in this situation. At this point, how do you keep saying and think like it's gonna be fine? You have to be strong-minded, and she did, because she survived through 93 days. But your mind play tricks on you. We only human, and she has done it.
treated us like animals. To be so sick that, you're vomiting behind bushes and you can't walk straight, and you're laying in the fetal position on the ground under a tree, and they don't care. Their duty was to keep me from dying, because then I wasn't worth anything.
They were in the hands of men and boys who were chewing khat. It's a plant with the same effect as amphetamines.
They were so hyped up on speed. It was like drinking pot after pot of coffee, and then the crash would come, and then it brought a lot of belligerence and a lot of anger and a lot of temper.
You and Paul came up with nicknames for a lot of the people who were keeping you. That's one of the ways you kept yourself occupied.
We did.
The 10-year-old boy?
Crack baby, because he was cracked out all the time. He was chewing khat, and he had 2 black holes for eyes.
10-year-old. The child was 10-year-old. Can you imagine? A 10-year-old, still a kid, but has been raised in that environment and doing what he's doing. It's just not right.
There was nothing inside.
This is one of the camps where she was held. The bandits hit her, pointed their guns at her, and put a knife to her throat. But it was exposure that took a toll.
That is terrible. Having a knife. I can't imagine something like this. Having a knife close to your throat as well, and you just don't know whether they will do it or not. And these people, you don't know how their mind work, how their brain work, and they will do it no problem, because they haven't got any link to you, and all they want was money, and that's what they want. And sat there having that thought is just you can't imagine.
She lost 25 pounds. After 3 weeks, the bandits made a video to prove that she was alive.
Have you seen the video?
I have.
Paul and myself, Jessica, we are safe and we are alive.
I can tell I'm starting to lose hope at that point.
But hope would have to last for 2 more months.
As the many weeks went by,
I'm guessing that's a tactic as well. If they're asking for ransom, that's a tactic to show they're still alive and they're still waiting for that ransom. And if they don't get the ransom, that's what's going to happen, because you can see the gun was pointing in her head as well in the back. So it's a tactic probably used by the Somalian to get what they want.
did you think the American government's watching me, they know where I am, and somebody's going to get me out of here?
No,
Why?
because I'm just an aid worker.
You didn't imagine that the President of the United States knew your name?
Never. Never in a million years.
After 3 months in the desert, Buchanan had a serious urinary tract infection, and in a final call to the hostage negotiator, she said this.
I'd become so ill that I couldn't stand up, I couldn't walk, so I was in so much pain. And I said, I think I have a kidney infection. And I started to cry and I said, I'm afraid I'm going to die out here.
That's the last thing you want to happen as well, to have a kidney infection, because it's horrendous to live, to go through that. And in this situation as well, in this circumstance, it's horrendous.
When that call was received here in Nairobi, it set off a chain of events that led all the way to the Oval Office. The FBI and the military consulted doctors who said that if Jessica had a kidney infection, she might have just 2 weeks to live. That was transmitted to the president, who was also informed that in just a few days, there would be a new moon.
2 weeks for us, sometimes you feel it's flown over, but for her, I can imagine if she do say like 2 weeks is feels like a long time, because she's just sat there waiting for that 2 weeks. It's going to drag, and it's horrendous thinking I haven't got any medical help here, and I'm in pain. It's horrendous to go through that, and I don't know. It's just a horrendous situation to be in.
Perfect darkness for a SEAL team rescue.
Jessica Buchanan had chosen a star in the Somali sky to represent her mother, who had passed away a year before. She spoke to it every night, and with no moon, it was especially bright on January 25th.
What did you say that night?
Please tell God that I need some help. We need to get out of here.
You couldn't have known that that prayer would be answered that night.
I had no idea.
She was on a mat trying to sleep when she heard a faint scratching noise. One of the bandits she nicknamed Helper heard it too.
And I see this look of just sheer terror on Helper's face. And then all of a sudden, it's just this eruption of gunfire. And I think, okay, well, this is it. This really is truly the end. And I cover up with my blanket again, and I just start saying, oh God, oh God, oh God. And I just remember thinking, or maybe I'm saying out loud, like, I cannot survive this.
She thought she was being taken by a rival group, maybe Al-Shabaab, Islamic extremists who would surely kill her.
And then all of a sudden, I feel all these hands on me, roughly grabbing at me. And I try to protect myself, and I pull the blanket.
Rightly so, what she was doing. So she was trying to protect herself, not knowing who they were and what's happening, and and you still in doubt. Your brain, you just don't know what to think anymore.
Closer on top of me, and then I hear my name. But it's not a Somali accent, it's an American accent.
Although she clocked on it's an American accent, but sometimes, like I said, after surviving through that many days of torture, you still probably doubt yourself. Have they come to help me? Who are they, So it's probably the psychology of this working to try to figure out who they were. She probably still doubting herself.
And I can't compute, I can't understand that somebody with an American accent knows my name. And they say, Jessica, we're with the American military. We're here to take you home, and you're safe. And I pull the blanket down from my face, and all I see is black masks, black sky, and all I can say over and over is, "You're American. You're American. I don't understand. You're Americans." Thinking, how did you get here? And I'm still alive. And
So she's still shocked that she's still alive after so many days of torture, and then the Americans was there. Again, she's questioning that again. How are you here? I'm only in, like she said before, she's only an aid worker, so no one. She doesn't think anybody will know her, even the president. But they've actually sent help, sent rescue for her, So she's still trying to process this. But in the situation that she was in, like the mental state, the physical state that she was, she's still taking time to process that. But she's actually questioning herself.
And they ask me where my shoes are, and I don't know. And one of them picks me up and starts running. He runs for several minutes and puts me down on the ground. And then they identify themselves, and that they knew I was very sick. And they have medicine, and they have water, they have food, and they've come to take me home.
That must have been a relief when she's eventually been able to work this out. Like they had food, they had medicine for her, and they actually reassured her, "We are here for you to take you home." So that would have been a great relief for her to know, I went through this. I'm going home alive. I'm going back home to my loved ones.
At one point, I think they thought they heard something, or I don't know. This group of men who's risked their life for me already asks me to lie down on the ground because they're concerned that there might be someone out there, and then they make a circle around me, and then they lie down on top of me to protect me. And we lay like that until the helicopters come in.
When all of those SEALs laid down on top of you, you were the most important thing in the world to them.
It's really hard to comprehend.
They were going to take a bullet for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's another reason I admire the soldiers. Any soldiers in the world, they are selfless. I have been reacting to military videos, and I always say how selfless act of bravery. They didn't know her. She was not linked to them. She has no relationship with them, but they went out there still protecting her, putting their life at risk when they've got loved ones at home waiting for them. But they've done it. They want to protect her, and they've done it.
And they're so kind, and they're so gentle, and they are trying to assist me to get to the helicopter. But I think I've been out here for months. I can run to this helicopter myself, and so I just break away and I just take off running through the scrub, through the bush, and I throw myself onto that helicopter and push myself up against the wall. And I don't start breathing until we actually lift up off the ground. And they hand me an American flag that's folded.
What did you think of that?
I just started to cry. At that point in time, I have never in my life been so proud and so very happy to be an American.
The SEALs left on other helicopters. She didn't see their faces, didn't hear their names. They appeared, and they were gone. The only thing left in the camp were 9 dead bandits.
Mr. Speaker!
It all ended just hours before the State of the Union address. As the president walked in, he had a secret with Defense Secretary Leon Panetta that almost no one understood until later.
Good job tonight. Good job tonight.
After the speech, President Obama called Buchanan's father. Jessica met her husband, Eric, at a U.S. base in Italy.
I just couldn't believe he was standing there and that I was standing there. And we had a second chance. And then later we flew to Portland, Oregon, and I was reunited with my father and my brother and my sister and her husband.
What was the first thing you said to your father?
Daddy,
Wow, that is it's not something you would think you would survive through, you know, especially being on your own there. And like she said again, she didn't even think the president know her or anybody knows her because she's only an aid worker. She think, but it went all the way to the president for the president to take that action and say no, we're going to go save her and send the team down there. She's actually, you know, went through this and come out as a survivor.
And I'm so sorry that you had to go through this. But we made it.
So did her Danish co-worker, Paul Fisted, who was also rescued by the SEALs. He said later that his lucky break was being captured with an American. Jessica Buchanan has told her story in a new book, Impossible Odds, coming out this week. You may recall that she said that her first thought when being taken was that she was too young to die because she hadn't had children. Well, she's taken care of that too. She and her husband have a baby boy, and they've moved back to the States from East Africa.
That is actually nice to see, you know. She's went through what she's went and actually did have a family eventually, because she did say, I haven't had children yet, and I don't want this to be the end of my life. And she wanted a family, and she went and did it and survived through this torture and still get back on track, get back the mental state to go and say, I'm not going to let this affect me. I'm going to carry on with my life. I'm going to do what I need to do. And she did. And that's really good to see. You have to have the mental state to be able to do that. Right, I'm guessing this is the end of it is the end of the video. I'm so pleased this video has been suggested to me to comment on and to have a reaction. It's a really good video, very inspirational to watch. I hope you guys have enjoyed just like I have. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and share, and I'll see you soon.